If you've ever had a cloud cost surprise, a security surprise, or a 2 a.m. outage surprise, you did not need more tools, you needed a better way to make decisions. That is what the Azure Well-Architected Framework is. It's not a product, it's not a checkbox, it's a decision framework that helps you design and run workloads that hold up over time. Let's talk Azure Well-Architected Framework on this MS Cloud Bros video. I'm Jeremy Wallace, Microsoft MVP, Certified Trainer, Solutions Architect for Azure. We're talking Azure Well-Architected Framework in this video. But before we do that, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all our great Microsoft Cloud content. First, I want to separate two things people mix up. The Cloud Adoption Framework, CAF, is the organizational level playbook. It's about strategy, governance, landing zones, operating models, security baseline, and how you get the whole company ready to adopt cloud. The Well-Architected Framework, WAF, is the workload level playbook. It's about one workload at a time, one business function at a time. Here's an easy way to remember it. CAF builds the runway. WAF helps you fly the plane. So what is a workload in this context? A workload is a full collection of things that deliver a business outcome. That includes your code, your data, your infrastructure, your identity, your monitoring, and the way your team operates it. And the reason this matters is simple. You do not improve the cloud. You improve workloads. WAF is built on 5 pillars. These pillars are the lenses you use to evaluate and improve a workload. Reliability, security, cost optimization, operational excellence, performance efficiency. Here are 5 plain English versions. Reliability means it stays up and it recovers when things break. Security means you protect identities, data, and systems without relying on luck. Cost optimization means you spend on purpose, not cheap, but on purpose. Operational excellence means the work is repeatable. Deployments are safe, incidents are handled like a system, not heroics. Performance efficiency means it meets demand without wasting resources. It scales and it stays responsive. Now, the most important part, how do you actually use this framework? Well, step 1, pick one workload. Not your entire subscription, not your entire company. Pick one workload that matters. Step 2, start with requirements. What are we building? Who uses it? What is the availability target? What is the recovery target? What data sensitivity are we dealing with? What is the budget and what is the business impact of downtime? Because WAF is not about perfection, it's about intentional trade-offs. That is one of the best parts of the updated framework. Trade-offs are called out directly. If you optimize one pillar hard, you usually pay somewhere else. The classic example, cost versus reliability. If you want maximum reliability, you often add redundancy, more instances, more zones, sometimes more regions. That can raise costs. And if you only chase cost cuts, you can silently cut the legs out from reliability or security. So instead of reduce cost, the better message is reduce costs while protecting our reliability targets and security requirements. That sentence alone prevents a lot of accidental damage. Next, inside each pillar, Microsoft gives you 2 powerful tools, design principles and checklists. Think of a design principle as the mindset, the how an architect should think. And think of the checklist as the action list, the what we should actually go do. If you do nothing else with WAF, do this. Use the checklist to turn good intentions into a real backlog. Then, when you hit common architecture problems, use patterns. Microsoft maintains cloud design patterns and also maps patterns into the pillar guidance. For example, patterns like circuit breaker or claim check exist because teams keep hitting the same failure modes. Patterns give you a proven way to reduce risk. And yes, patterns also create trade-offs. That is the point. You choose the right pattern for the job. Now, once you understand the pillars, Microsoft adds 2 more layers. Layer 1 is the pillars. That applies to basically every workload. Layer 2 is workload class guidance. That is where Microsoft gives extra prescriptive guidance for certain types of workloads. Mission critical is the obvious example. If your workload must always be available and resilient to failures, you want that mission critical guidance. There are other workloads too, like AI workloads and Oracle on Azure IaaS guidance. Layer 3 is Azure Service Guides. This is where WAF gets very practical for the services you are using. If your workload uses AKS, there is an AKS service guide. If your workload uses other core services, there are service guides for many of them. This is the progression. Principles first, workload-specific needs second, service-specific guidance third. Now let's talk about how to make this real. How do you measure and improve instead of just reading docs? Microsoft has an official assessment tool called the Azure Well-Architected Review. It is a self-assessment. It is about 60 questions, and it generates tailored recommendations. Here's the move I want you to make. Pick one workload, run the review, export the results, and convert the recommendations into a backlog. If you use Azure DevOps or GitHub, Microsoft even provides guidance and example tooling to integrate those recommendations into your work tracking. And there's another key feature here, milestones. See, milestones let you rerun the assessment over time and track progress. This is how WAF becomes a system, not a one-time project. Run it now, create improvements, then recheck at a meaningful point. Every major release, every major architecture change, or even quarterly. And yes, Azure Advisor comes into play. The review can integrate Azure Advisor recommendations for the subscription or resource group. And Azure Advisor also has an advisor score that breaks down across the 5 WAF pillar categories. That gives you an ongoing signal. Not perfect, but helpful. So here is the simple operating system. 1. Choose a workload. 2. Define requirements and constraints. 3. Apply pillar principles and checklist items. 4. Document trade-offs. 5. Turn recommendations into backlog work. 6. Use milestones to prove improvement. That is how you move from random best effort to intentional architecture. Let me give you a few anchor lines you can keep. 1. WAF turns opinions into decisions. 2. You do not improve the cloud, you improve workloads. 3. Most outages are not surprises. They are unpaid design debt. 4. Trade-offs are not mistakes. Unstated trade-offs are. Close this out with a practical next step. Pick your most important workload, run the Azure Well-Architected Review, and create a backlog of top 10 improvements. If you want, comment the word WAF and tell me which pillar is currently your biggest pain: reliability, security costs, operations, or performance efficiency. And if you want a follow-up video, I can walk through one real workload example and show how I turn the assessment into a prioritized improvement plan. See you on the next one.